instruction, they'll be on target. Those children who are in the far below category, these are kids who really need acceleration. And this is where the new resources that we've obtained will be extremely helpful for us. So when you look at the score, this is in your books, you have the whole set of data for all the grade levels in all of the schools. And so there you see those categories: far below, below, near, at, above. At the district level, you can see there 34. We have about 34% of our fourth graders who really need acceleration in order to be on level by the end of the year. Now, something I would note about the fourth and fifth grade data are that all students are assessed in English at fourth and fifth grade. So we still have children who are in dual language program. They're being assessed in Spanish and in English within their classroom, but for them to be non-LEP students, for them to come off that list, they have to be assessed in English. So we're wanting to get an idea at the beginning of fourth grade about how they're doing. So at this point, in these data, you'll see that's all children are testing in English. The lower grades, you'll see it broken down by Spanish and English. So looking at our literacy framework, we've traditionally had a 90-minute block for reading, or literacy as we called it, and we still are going to have 90 minutes, but we've broken that down to be much more explicit. And it's basically into two halves. And one half is dedicated to those reading foundations. That's ensuring that all the kids have phonics, phonemic awareness, and the vocabulary building that they need in order to really access the comprehension, which happens in the second part, the guided reading workshop. And I'll show you how that breaks down. Also, the board has made a very significant investment this year in our writing. About 15 years or so ago, Fort Worth ISD had a very tight writing curriculum that all of its teachers went through, and a real clearly defined process. And over time, for a variety of reasons, that sort of whittled away. And so you've recommitted to that, and we're getting very positive feedback from our teachers. They're really enjoying it, especially in our middle schools. We're also doing it at middle school and ninth grade. So within that block, so we have the reading foundations part. That's the 30 to 45 minutes, depending on the day. The teachers are really working with the kids and building automaticity and fluency. And so the components that you'll see there, as I mentioned, the phonics. I need some phonic help at this time of the day. But specifically the word work and the fluency with the reading mastery materials and the corrective reading materials that the board approved the purchase of a couple of meetings back. That's the time within the day when that can really be fit in there and doesn't have to be something on the side or a separate intervention. This is a bigger picture of what the framework looks like. You can see the reading foundations be the first 30 to 45 minutes, the progress monitoring, which we expect on a monthly basis for the kids who are below level, and then the guided reading workshop. And the way this happens is on Monday, there's a whole class instruction piece, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, the kids rotate through the different groups that the teacher is working with specifically, and then they also work in centers throughout the room. Friday, they come back together and reassess how they're doing. Teacher can plan for the following week for the reading foundations and the subsequent parts. Just a little update on your McGraw-Hill purchases. That's the reading mastery and the corrective reading. The money was invested in the corrective reading and all of this. We have a good number of them for literacy, and they are rotating through the schools. They're in schools 80 to 90% of the time, and they're in classrooms helping teachers implement these things. I want to give a shout out in all of this. And it's really phenomenal, and it's the power of what can happen when there's a strong degree of internal coherence at a campus, and that's what Ms. Woods is doing at Forest Oak Middle School, and you see the results. So we're very optimistic that if our schools follow the model and use the resources appropriately, that we'll see a lot more schools like that first school I showed you where they're getting distinctions because they're really working together as a team and using their data in an agile manner. Here's just a couple of quick
people from the faith-based community who come in, and people from the faith-based
who are not there.
That there are teachers already trained that could start initiating the literacy programs. But I looked at the students below level, reading level in first, second, and third, but when you look at fifth grade, and you have that large number of students far below level, cause the middle school to not meet standard because the kids can't read. And I just feel if I could teach reading, I would probably try and help teach the students because reading is so fundamental. If the students cannot read, if they cannot grasp any goal seals program, they can't be successful in the district. So until they learn to read, our test scores will continue to be where they are. Yes, and to me, this should have been something that just stood out several years back. Our problem, but anyway, I looked at page. It's not a page number, but common characteristics of higher performing campuses. Ability to quickly adapt strategies and resources to needs of student populations. And I understand, I guess we need to look at some of the schools where they're still trying to get resources and they don't have resources that they need. So I think that's something test scores will
report on math. Approve the think through math algebra 1 student